President Trump sounding off before taking off on his landmark trip to Asia.
And I think we're going to have great success.
But unable to leave behind the Russia probe after new revelations about this March meeting with George Papadopolous, who's pled guilty to lying to the FBI about his contacts with Russia. Now, a former Trump advisor who is in the room tells NBC News then candidate Trump listened with interest as Papadopolous floated the idea of a meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Jeff Sessions immediately shot down the idea. Today, Mr. Trump, who just last week boasted about his great memory,
one of the great memories of all time,
said he has little recollection of this encounter.
Mr. President, do you remember George Papadopolous during that March meeting?
I don't remember much about that meeting. It was a very unimportant meeting. Took place a long time.
In February, the president insisted he wasn't aware of any campaign advisors contacting Russian officials during the campaign.
No, nobody that I know of.
Asked today if he stands by those words.
All I can tell you is this. There was no collusion. There was no nothing. It's a disgrace, frankly.
Also under mounting scrutiny, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, who testified before Congress he wasn't aware of any Trump advisors communicating with Russians. That is contradicted by Papadopoulos and now former Trump advisor Carter Page, who testified on Capitol Hill Thursday that he told Sessions about a July trip to Moscow. Page says that trip had nothing to do with the campaign. Adding pressure, the president today ramped up unprecedented calls on his attorney general to investigate his political rivals Hillary Clinton and the Democrats. So will he fire Sessions if there's no action?
I don't know. I'm really not involved with the Justice Department. I'd like to let it run itself. But honestly, they should be looking at the Democrats.
Kristen Welker, NBC News, the White House.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.